Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Unfiltered Truth. I finally have my lovely guest today, the Defreitas, my brother, Rodrick Defreitas, and my good sister, Augustine Defreitas. Today we'll be discussing a lot of topics, and I just wanted to say before I move forward, thank you guys for even taking time out to come and support your good sis. I appreciate you guys, but there were some topics that I wanted to touch on today, and we're just gonna jump right in. Does family affect relationships? So I have in a negative or a positive light. How do you guys feel about that? And then I'm gonna touch on what I feel in my heart of hearts. So any of you can answer.
Sure. Okay, so obviously families, depending on how family oriented you are, can play a major part in your relationship.
Absolutely.
So for Rodrick and I, so he was always more family oriented than I was.
Okay.
And that was actually one of the things that attracted me about him was just how much he loved his family.
Yes.
And I've been very fortunate. I would say I have amazing in-laws. I love his mom. I love you guys. And so you guys have always been very welcoming and, open to me. And I've definitely appreciated that. Like, you've never made me feel like an outsider. But I have, tons of friends who, obviously the opposite is true. So where they, basically had to fight every day for their relationship when it comes to, the family aspect of it. And so I've never felt that way. And so I know that our relationship was able to become very strong really early on because of how open and just, accepting our families were.
That's dope, man. That's definitely dope. And you, my brother, how do you feel? Do family affect relationships in a positive or a negative light?
I feel like it can go both ways, honestly. It can be positive or it can be negative, but it ultimately depends on the member in the relationship. The family only has the amount of impact on the relationship that family member allows them to have.
I like that. And can we touch on that sore subject that we had a couple of years ago? You ready for that conversation? Let's get it unfiltered. Okay, so a lot of people don't know. A couple of years ago, I invited my sister-in-law, this young lady right here, to a party, but I never really got to explain to my brother what I wanted to do. So I'm going to break it down again. A lot of people see me on social media and they think like, oh, I'm a party girl. That's all I'm about. So now I branched off. I'm like, okay, that life is done. I'm in my 30s. All right, it's time to move on. But a lot of people did like label me as, oh, you like to party. Okay, cool. This is what you like to do. And now that I'm older, I see what you were talking about. I actually had a conversation with a guy about that same situation. Let me break the situation down. I invited my sister-in-law out. I actually wanted my brother to come as well, but he wasn't with it. He wasn't with it because he looked at me as that party girl, and we ended up getting into a heated conversation. There was tears on my mother's behalf. But I understood, and she tried to break it down to me at that time. Like, listen, he's married. This is his wife. This is what it is. But I just always wanted you to know, like, I never wanted it to get to where it got to, because I didn't speak to you for days after that. Like, and I was like, that hurt me, honestly. Like, it hurt me to just think like, oh my God, my brother thinks I'm a hoe. Like, he thinks I'm out here just dancing and shaking my ass for tips at that point. That's like, we can laugh about it now. That's why I wanted to have you on. Like, and now as I'm older, I realize like, okay, he is a married man. That wasn't appropriate. Like, I wanted to apologize to you for that situation. Like, that wasn't right how I behaved. But what happened around that time is that I am a person, I'm going to ask the why. So I didn't understand. So it came across like I was just like, well, you're trying to control your wife. But I knew that wasn't the case. It was never the case. But in that heated moment, it was like, oh, I'm a hoe? Oh, well, you trying. So he did not He didn't call me a hoe. Look, let me stop putting that narrative out there. But that's how I felt. Like how at the time is how I felt, and I understand now. So it was never like I was like, damn, I am affecting his relationship. So that it circles back to what it is. Like I'm being the negative part of your relationship. So I can own that. So that's what happened on my end in that situation. So you can explain your part of that situation now. We can finally talk about it as adults.
We're a little older now.
we're a little older now. We see things in a different light. Go ahead.
If you can't explain your why, so initially it looks bad. Why are you even asking a why? But if you can't explain your why, then my thing is your belief or feelings on the situation isn't actually founded. Mm-hmm. If you can so it was never I felt like you were a hoe, or I felt like she was a hoe, or you guys get together.
Why would you
get together and hoe powers unite?
You know what I'm saying? Like, activate Captain Planet. You're So no, it wasn't about any of you as individuals, which is the funny part. For me, it was more about other individuals. I have since I left New York City, I've been in a lot of places where I have more means to like either protect myself, protect my family, different things like that. Mm-hmm. New York doesn't know how to behave, and you know that. So true. My thing was, I didn't feel like going to the party, but I can't control what happens when I'm not there. So it was
you did tell me that.
And we discussed it. It was more of a security thing than it was any of your personalities or anything like that. And then she's also not from New York, so I was looking at it as a party in New York may not be a party what she's used to. Okay. So I'm just like, you may get into a scenario that, add a couple drinks may not end well. And we were at a place in life and still are where we can't afford for things to go wrong. They don't go wrong for us the way they go for regular people. So it was more of a security thing. It was never a shot to your character or her character. Okay. So that's really where I was coming from, but I wasn't mature enough that day to explain it. And then once emotions get involved, we're all going.
You know me and you, we've been head to head since we were kids, so it makes sense. So that's why it like you did leave for a period of time. I turned into who I turned into. You turned into who you turned into. As much as we stayed connected for that whole time, we were still our own people. So it was like, now we're back and it's like, okay, we're going to pick up where we left off. And that's who I was at the time. Like, well, your wife looks like she wants to have a good time. And my issue that at that time was more so of why would I put you in a position or a situation where it would lead to that. I don't like ratchet parties. I make sure I don't go to ratchet parties. So I get it. Like you're coming back home, you know what you're used to. So I understood that. But it was just like the way it all played out. It just ended up being like more than it needed to be. So we really couldn't explain ourselves like we can now. Like we're older and we understand now. So I'm glad that we got past that and we can sit here and talk about it. That's why I was like, does family like that was you two were like when I came up with that topic, you two were the first people that I thought about. And we have a lot of family, you know that. Like they're coming. They are coming. Don't you guys be alarmed. But I wanted to start with you guys because I'm like, you know what? My brother's not here and you've always pushed me to be like the best version of myself. You always make sure you tell me like, listen, you have something, like just keep going. And I admire what you two are building. Like I'm gonna give y'all listen, as 2023 has started, I realized like we don't give each other enough flowers, like literal, figuratively, however. And I just want to give you guys your flowers. Like you're doing it. Like as much as hurdles and everything is going to come and get thrown at you. And some days you won't always be at the top where you feel like you belong. Keep going. And I know you guys are going through things. Trust me, I do too. Like it's things where you feel like, why is this happening to me? Like, why? Like, what? Why me? And it's like, and then you snap out of it like, okay, I'm me. Like, I'm going to get past this. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on as well. Like, I wanted you two here. Like, y'all are setting the tone for me. Like, damn, I need to find it. No, for real. I'm giving these flowers. The flower. Take them. Take them. But okay, I want to talk. Take them, my brother. I want to talk about you two being married. How is that life? Like, how do you, okay. Let me reword this. Sorry. This is the unfiltered truth here, guys. Okay, I'm 34. And Rodrick actually told me something that you said to him when you first met him. Like, I'm not dating to just date. I want to be married and in a certain amount of time. And I don't have that. I'm like, well, who's next? What we doing? Like, look, the hoe. Nah. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I haven't found anybody where I'm like, I take you serious enough to take that journey with you. Like, that's what I want to know. Like, what did you see in my brother where you were like, I'm willing to tell him, like, this is what I want and I'm not playing games. Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? Because you can't tell that to every guy. Every guy or every woman. I don't want to single anybody out, but you can't tell that to everyone. Like, what did you see in him at that time, if you don't mind me asking? Like,
so, okay. No, so at the time, I had just gotten out of like a really crappy relationship. And I honestly didn't even want to date anybody at that time when we had first met.
Understandable.
And then when we were talking, he would say a lot of different things like for an example, he was like, oh, I would never date a woman with tattoos. Little did he know I had 9 tattoos. And so like, but he would just say different things like, and he would be describing a woman that a lot of it fit like me.
Your character, who you were.
I was just
not knowing, you shooting yourself in the foot.
I just thought that we were friends. Like when we first started talking, and like I think that allowed us to be very open, allowed us to both be very comfortable. So we would have like really intimate conversations that like, you know, when you like first meet somebody, you're trying to put your best foot forward and you don't know any of your flaws. I was flawed out. Like, I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was just my complete and total self because I thought he was just a really good friend of mine. But then when it started to become more serious and like, you know, it became obvious that somebody was into somebody.
Talk about it, sis.
That I just wanted to be very, very clear. Like after my last relationship, I didn't want to be playing around. Like I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like waste all of this time, invest, you know, all of myself and my heart, and all of my energy into something that just wasn't going to go anywhere. And so that's when we started having the conversation. I was like, look, but you know, I really like you. You know what I mean? Like obviously I want us to be together, but like you got 2 years. If you can't see a future with me in 2 years, like, then there is no future. Like, we don't need to be dating each other for 10, 20 years. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the ride or die. I'm not. Like, so, you know, like, you got to make up your mind. And it took, what, 7 months? 7 months? And we
give or take. He was sold after 3 minutes.
Hey, you can't be talking about the phone calls. Because that's what I used to call. I used to call everybody, look.
Listen.
I don't remember the context of the conversation. I actually remember when you was like, just say you love her. Not necessarily to her, but even talking to you.
Yeah.
I loved it, but I was just like, what is going on where I don't understand this feeling? Be defensive. And I remember that day you told me, it was like, it's okay to use the word. If you love her, you love her. Yep. And that was the first day I said it to you, and I later said it to her.
Oh, look at me bringing y'all together. No, but honestly, that was, again, family affecting. That was the positive light of it. I saw what it was. And Rodrick always tells me I am very emotional. Like, he always tells me, he's like, you're so emotional. And I'm like, you're emotionless. Like, you need that. Like, it's very important. And we grew up together apart, like COVID, together apart. But I was always the one that was like emotional, like always. Like I would always like ground him, like, listen, like it's okay, like it's all right to love somebody. But we didn't grow up that way. Our mom didn't hug us like, oh, how was your day? Or like, oh my God, I love you guys so much. So we didn't know that. So growing up, it I don't know the word right now, but it became who we were, and it was being passed on to us without us even knowing. So when he told, like, I saw the difference in him when he talked about you, and I'm like, that's love, bro. Like, I watched enough teen drama love movies where it's where it's like, that's love. Like, I've never been in love, and I'm 34. Like, I've loved, like, I had love, but that feeling where it's like, you, like what you just said, I couldn't explain it. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but I knew it was something. I've never had that with anybody I've ever dealt with. So I just knew, like, bro, you in love. Like, just say you love her. Like, it's okay. Like, it's all right. And I never wanted him to feel like I was against him. Like, bro, if you found love, you found love. Like, that's, and a lot of people don't realize that's what we're here for. Humans are not made to be alone. We have to either have friends, lovers, family, something. We need companionship. And that's where a lot of people, some people want a companion with everyone. And it's like, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So how did you know, finally, besides that conversation, how did you know, like, damn, I really love this girl? Like, what was it?
It was a few conversations we had in the beginning, but honestly, our first conversation kind of like put me on that path. And as you described, we don't show emotion. After that first day, I remember going to a group of friends and like, hey, I met this person and I explained all about her, but I never said her. And people are not used to men speaking about women with admiration. So the way, and we're military also, so the way I described her, they were like, holy shit, he sounds pretty solid. Like, what's his name? Because I was only describing like accolades and like what I seen in the past. So in our first conversation, and she could attest to it, we were just literally just talking about life. And I actually told her that day, I was like, hey, I've never seen someone your age speak this way. And she was just like, that's interesting. How old are you? Turns out I'm only 3 months older than her. So when I said your age, it wasn't the concept of, oh, I'm so much older. It was, in our generation, I haven't found really anyone that speaks the way that she speaks or has life aligned the way that she does. And I tell people this all the time. I'm a pretty confident person. Some people may see it as arrogance. So to be that person my whole life, I got things figured out. I'm alpha, the top of the top. I'm doing all these things. And then to have one conversation with someone and feel like, I actually don't have life figured out. I need to start back at square one. I need to completely build and go in a direction that I've never even knew existed. In that conversation, that played into a narrative I've told myself since a kid. I never wanted any super specific trait in a woman. All I wanted was a partner, an equal, someone that I can share something with, build something with. There's no physical traits or attributes associated with that. I mean, she happened to, look this way.
My good sis. My good sis.
But it would have honestly not mattered how she looked because she was capable of being a partner that I've always wanted in life. And she demonstrated that not only in that first conversation, but those next few, I was just like, hey, I can actually see like me building something with this person. And this is all before, again, I've ever even showed any emotion. I had plans. It was in the books, already.
He had his eyes on you, girl. And that's dope, man. That's dope. And the reason I wanted you guys on as well is because there's people my age, there's people older than you guys, younger. And I wanted to reach out because people don't think it exists anymore. And it's like, it's what you put out there. If you're putting out like, I'm a city girl today and then I'm a wife tomorrow, that's not how life works. Like, you have to choose. But if you have a partner that wants you to be a city girl, cool. Like, that's okay too. Like, that's okay too. But if you have to put out what you want, and I've been having a lot of conversation with like guy friends. Like, I realize, men and women, Lord, I'm working on it. But it's like, I realize, and a lot of my guy friends tell me all the time, I don't call out my friends. Like, if I told a guy friend, like, oh, such and such happened, and they would look at me like, well, did you tell her she was wrong? Like, she was bugging or whatever the situation is. And I'm like, No, she just wanted to talk. Like, she was just chatting. I didn't feel like I needed to say anything if this is how she felt. And it was like, that's the problem. And Rodrick, we actually had a conversation the other day as well, where you were telling me, like, listen, you need to put your emotions aside. Remember, we had this conversation. He's like, it's not always about emotions, it's facts. And I'm learning that, like, damn, it is facts. Look, I'm here like, but I feel, like, I feel. And but that's a part of me growing as well. Like, I feel like I'm at a big age where I should know, but it's like, there's still time to grow. There's still time for you to learn things. And I love that about myself and others. Like, listen, we can grow. Like, you two, I've watched y'all grow. I watch you two grow, and I love that. Like, I always try to check in. You know, I'm saying your Harry Potter stuff because it'd be jokes. Like, but I love who you are becoming, and I want to see where it goes, and I love that for you guys. But that's what I wanted to talk to you about, guys, really about. But I do have one more question before I let y'all go, because I know y'all military and y'all busy. Nah.
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. Nah, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But there's something I heard on Instagram the other day, and I was like, this is interesting. So it was like, do men set the tone and the women set the atmosphere? How do you guys feel about that? Whoever wants to start first can. Do men set the tone and the women set the atmosphere? What do you feel about that? I'll save my thoughts for the end.
Let's see. I could. Oh, you see what you got something to say?
This is the tone and the atmosphere, guys.
I would say yes. I don't know. I very much. So one of the things that I've like really loved about Rodrick, and I've told him multiple times, is that he's allowed me to feel safe. So like, I was always very, very independent, like I get my own money, I, can take care of myself. If something's broke, I can fix it or pay somebody. And you know what I mean? Like I wasn't a huge crier, you know what I mean? Like, cause I didn't want anybody to see any vulnerability or weakness in me. And it wasn't that it didn't exist. It's just, I didn't want people to see it. Like, it's none of your business whether or not I'm upset. But with him, like, sometimes I do too much. But with him, like, I can be my true, vulnerable self. Like, I can have a bad day. I can come home and cry. Like, when I'm having a crappy day or whatever, like, all I want to do is just come home and just get a hug from my husband. You know what I mean? Like, he just makes everything feel better. And, like, I don't know, just even, like, something as simple as, like, buying, like, quote-unquote luxury items. I would have never, before he and I got together, bought a Louis bag. Because I just felt like it was unnecessary. You know what I mean? It's not a necessary purchase. Like, I can put my stuff in a $20 bag just as easy as I can put my stuff in, like, this $3,500 bag.
I respect that.
But with him, like, again, I feel safe. I know that, while, we're making this purchase, I know that, like, that's not, like, my last dime, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, or money's not coming again, or something like that. Like, I know, and I feel safe and comfortable with him that I can take care of myself. I can treat myself. I can, you know what I mean? Do all these different things because I know he got me. And that's just the tone that he has always set for a relationship. And so because of that, like, I try to also do my part, you know what I mean? Like, and basically creating a space and an environment where he also feels supported, and he also feels like, you know what I mean, no matter what, like, comes at us as a family, he knows that I have his back. And so I can definitely see that, because if he wasn't the man that he is, then I wouldn't be able to, like, operate and exist, like, as the woman that I am. I know that for a fact. Like, I've been with other people, and I still have to be, like, not the head, but like
that alpha female, like that. Yes,
like
I get it.
Like, I have to do that. You
I
know,
absolutely
like,
get
talk
it.
Crazy to me, I know you ain't gonna say nothing. So let me. You know what I mean? But I know I don't have to do that. I know that no matter where we are, I'm always safe with him. Like, no matter what's going on around us, like, and because of that, I can truly be my true vulnerable self. And I've never been able to do that with anybody outside of him.
I love it. You want to make me cry on my podcast. And I don't want to cry because I don't like to be vulnerable either. But no, I love that answer, like that answer. And I feel like people need to hear that, especially coming from a young Black woman. Like, that's beautiful. Like, because we don't set our men to that standard where it's like that safety. And I don't think a lot of men understand that. Like, if you see that I'm independent, I can do it on my own. Like, take some of the load, my back, my back. Like, leave. So you, like, I'm not this way. I'm not this way because I want to be a strong Black woman. Like, no, this was a title that I inherited. Like, I didn't ask for this. Like, and that's what a lot of men that I'm coming across, they don't see that. They're like, well, you're a bus driver and you do this and you do that. And it's like, I have to. Like, you know how expensive it is in New York City? Like, I'm not here. I want to get up at 4:07 in the morning to go drive people that's cursing me out. That is my goal. That is my goal in the morning, to, like, listen to yourself. And then it's like, and you're too emotional. Yes, I deal with a lot. Like, it is a lot going on. So for you to come on and say something like that, that's what I wanted from you. Like, that's beautiful. Like, I really almost cried. I had to hold it in. Like, no, not even joking around, because just to know, like, that's my brother that makes you feel that way, makes me feel good. Like, I was a part of that. Like, I was here for that. Like, I was here for that. Not to make it about me. Like, but I love that though. And that's the type of man that every woman wants. You want to feel safe. You want to feel protected. You want to feel like, this is my peace. Because a lot of guys I come across, that's what they tell me. Like, I'm like, what are you looking for in a woman? And that's always the first thing. I want her to be my peace. How, if you're chaos? You cannot expect peace. And you are chaos. Like, and I'm like, it's not gonna work. It has to be a balance. Like, it has to be balanced. Like, and compromise is a big thing. Like, and I'm learning that as I grow. Like, I guess I'm still like stuck in my ways as well, but everything you said is what I'm looking for as well. Like, I am an independent woman. I inherited it. Like, I'm here to do that because I have to. I don't want to. It's not fun. It is ghetto. I'm tired and my back hurts. My back. But I want to hear your answer now. So, do men set the tone and women set the atmosphere?
I can definitely see it. It can go both ways, but generally, yes. Mm-hmm. So men are generally going to be strong-willed in their relationship. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. So they tend to know what they want to happen and how they want and where they want to go. Mm-hmm. But knowing a destination is not always knowing how to get there. So I think that the intent behind relationships is, I like synergy. If you can do what you can do on your own and I can do what I can do on my own, and that is all we can accomplish together, we're not right for each other, because you're not, 1 + 1 should equal 3, not 2. So because we're together, I should be able to accomplish things I can accomplish, and you should be able to accomplish things you can accomplish. That is why I think people should be together. So as far as knowing the tone and knowing the end of the race, that's great. But women do provide a lot of sometimes direction and different tools that will help you get there. And maybe you would have gotten there on your own, but you get there maybe a little quicker, maybe a little easier. Mm-hmm. You're able to accomplish multiple goals, not just one. Maybe you get introduced to goals you never even had. I've definitely done that since we got together, introduced to goals I've never considered. So I agree with the statement overall.
No, I do too.
It's a partnership. You'll get there.
I absolutely agree as well. And that's what it is about though, because at the end of the day, like, as much as we are independent women, like women that's into men or whatever, like, I get it. Like, you do want that man to lead you. Like, that's what, like, I don't mind taking the backseat to a relationship. Like, I don't mind. Like, I've been the driver for this long where I'm like, okay, lead me. Let me see where we can go. Like, especially if I speak to you and I like the way you move and I see where your visions are, because I've been having a lot of conversations like that. Like, a lot of people don't see your vision until it comes to life. Like, I told somebody about my podcast and he told me, I'm doing too much. This is just a friend. He was like, you're doing too much. He was like, you're moving like, he was like, do you want to be married? And I'm like, yeah, I do. He was like, so why are you doing a podcast? I was like, but what he was saying is, it sounds crazy, right? But I'm going to break it down where you can understand why he said it.
Hey.
People talking to me like on the phone, we just shooting the shit. Like, I'm not here to, cup of tea, spot of tea. I'm not here for that. Like, we talking open and honest. I was like, that's not what my podcast is about. Most podcasts is either women bashing men bashing women, and it's like, or it gets real ghetto real fast type. Like, I'm like, that's not what I want what my platform's going to be. Like, I want to have conversations. It's not about, oh, well, men need to do this and women need to do that. It was never going to be that. So he was like, oh, well, it should have been this and it should have been that. And it's like, this is mine. Like, I'm not making it for people. I mean, it is for people, but I'm not doing this so that my husband can come and whisk me away. Like, it was never that. It was something I wanted for myself. So I get what he was coming across, like, oh, well, don't make it this. I'm like, it was never going to be that, because I've never been that person. I've never sat around and, well, men need to do this and women need to do that. So with the tone, back to the tone and atmosphere, I went off onto my own tangent. But like, the tone and the atmosphere, I absolutely believe that, because if it could even go back to caveman days. The men brought the meat home, the women cooked it. It's teamwork. The tone and the atmosphere is all down. It all boils down to teamwork. Like, what are you, and sacrifices. A lot of people don't want to sacrifice. Like, if you know something is hurting your relationship, you should be able to sacrifice that. I think me and Rodrick has had talks about this a couple of times where, it's like, all right, I really don't want to do this, but it was something he told me. I'm going to blow it up. I don't care. It's nothing bad. No, he was just talking about like, he likes like races and stuff. Like, he's into cars, and he was like, well, Augustine's going to stay home. I'm like, as she should, because if you're not interested, everybody should. It's the add-on for me. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know your place. Like, it's like knowing your place. And as Black women, when we hear know your place, it's like excuse me, how could you tell me? But it's like, you know what, you're actually right, and I will stay home. Like, I don't want to be there, especially if you don't want it. So that's what I mean, where I'm like, you can separate the two. Like, there should be your personal life, my personal life, and then we know when we come together, it's magic. Like, that's what I feel it should be. And that's why I said I really wanted to have you guys on, because I love what you're building. I can't wait to see where this goes with you two. I'm happy for you. I just wanted to let that be known to the world. My little brother and my little sister. Do you guys have anything else to say before we leave? How you guys feeling?
Hey, I'm just thankful to be invited.
Yeah, of course. But go ahead. I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know. I feel like you can do really big things in life, whether it's through this show or through different venues or platforms. I just think when you have skill and when you have an art and a craft, it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. It's gonna work out. And I do appreciate what you said with the guy. He told you it should be this, it shouldn't be this. People's opinions are never gonna actively help you, and if they're not constructive, ignore them. Do what you want to do. You had a vision. You had a place you were going. And from the first few episodes I've seen, it looks to be playing out exactly how you want it. So
thank you.
Stay true to what you're doing. And
thank you.
Proud of you.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. But also just personally, I do want to just say thank you. Like I said in the very beginning, as far as like how families can impact your relationship. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know you've always been the person in your family that's been, like the welcoming committee. And, you know what I mean? Like, you the person that stay connected with everybody. And you've always stayed very connected with me.
Absolutely.
And like you said, we are going through some rough things right now, and it's not anything in our relationship. It's more, like just you know what's happening. And like just knowing that, like, or not just you, but the entire family, that I have your guys' support, truly does mean a great deal to both, I know myself and Rodrick. And I don't know, I genuinely love and appreciate you. And you truly have been an amazing sister to me. The entire, now going on 6 years that we've been married. So. But it is. And so I know you will do incredible things. I obviously wish you the best of luck. In any way that we can help and support, we're always happy to.
Thank you. Just like and subscribe. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. I know. Thank you. No, hearing that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all gave me my flowers without even realizing it. And thank you. Like, that's what I wanted. Like, I just want to create a space and a platform where people can be open and honest. Like, people need to hear it. As much as we don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations, I want to. Like, I've always been like that. You can ask my brother. And he used to, and this is where he always tells, you're so emotional. I'm like, no, I'm passionate about things. And when I'm passionate, you can't shut me up. Like, until I get out whatever I need to say, like, all right, well, it's in the universe. It's off my chest. Like, it's said. Like, and again, back to family, like, it's always been like, that's Leah in the background. It's always been, she wants to make a guest appearance. It's always been like, either we hold it in until it combusts and it's like just a big mess, or you could just talk about it and get it out the way. Like, it can be uncomfortable at times. Like, we don't always want to share every minor detail or every step of the way that you're going through. And I never wanted you to come in feeling like you were an outsider, because I still have to deal with when my time comes. So I'm like, okay, why would I treat somebody terrible? I don't know you. I don't know. And I'm a type of person, I know Rodrick don't believe in things like this, but I'm all for energy. And your energy always matched mine. Like, okay, sis, like I'm gonna keep it real. Like, your energy always matched mine. It was never a time where I was like, she being shady. I don't like it. Like, it was never a time. Yeah, my brother, yes, he's shady. Me? No, but No, but there was never a time where I felt like, yo, Rodrick, your wife, or I don't know. Like, it was never a time where I felt that way. Like, from day one, like, even on our first FaceTime, I'm like, hey, sis, where you going? Like, that was our like first.
Where just my hand was in the thing. You had a mannequin. Right. They was like, we'll think she exists. Is that a mannequin hand?
Yeah, Sydney ruthless.
That's definitely Sydney being ruthless. Like, that wasn't me. I'm like, nah, we need to see. Like, seeing is believing over here. Like, what's going on? So, I'm like, all right. Like, all right, let me show y'all. She is real. Like, but I always felt like you matched my brother. You guys' energy always came together. And that's why I said you're going to do great things. Like, I know that. I've watched you guys from the beginning to now, 6 years ago to now. Like, and I see that vision, even if it's not coming to fruition right now. Like, I see it. Like, I know what you guys are heading for. Like, we have our separate conversations. We have conversations together. And I applaud that. Like, it's beautiful. That's what Black love is to me. Like, you two are Black love, really. Like, all jokes aside, like, those flowers, they still coming. They still coming. But yeah, like, that's what it should be. And I love that for you guys. Like, I really do mean that. And I want to thank you for taking time out for coming on to the Unfiltered Truth today. And listen, it's only up from here, man. Like, for all of us, like, even if we hit these bumps in the road, we're still going. Like, every day we have to push forward. So we could take a day off sometimes, and that's very important too. Like, sometimes, like, you just feel like you're fighting all day, every day, and it's like, damn. And that's what I want, that person that I can come home and take that load off, cry, like, just scream if I have to into your chest. Like, that's what everybody should have. That, like, that it's necessary. You need that. We cannot carry this load on our own. So I'm just glad you guys found that in each other, and I wanted to keep going. And here's the emotional part now. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys once again for coming on to the Unfiltered Truth. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Love you guys. Later.